Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
Me hearty and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. I'm your Captain Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is me skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey Mozz, so glad you're here with me once again to continue our exploration of the Marvel one-shots on Disney+. Tonight's introduction, The Consultant. Agent Coulson and Sitwell plan to derail General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross from interfering with S.H.I.E.L.D. affairs with a very special person. Our director this week is Latham. Writers are Jack Kirby and Eric Parson, Clark Gregg, and of course Maximilio Hernandez as Agent Sitwell. Deborah Knox is our night waitress. Yep, Jack Kirby gets the character critic, and just Eric Pearson is. We don't even find out what he is as the writer. Yes, but so this is interesting because this is, although again I think this was the second produced. It is the chronologically it serves as the earliest chronologically of the modern era Marvel shorts. So Peggy Carter, which is actually was produced later, is actually the first in time chronologically because it's set in the 40s.
Right.
But this one is set this one is set concurrent with the events of the Hulk, which of course was the Incredible Hulk, which was of course the second MCU film that came out after Iron Man. That's when they first built the interconnected universe. And that is what this is about, because this is about the Consultant. Mm-hmm. Although it's interesting that they call him the Consultant here. This takes place during the Hulk story, but really I believe the title of Consultant is given to him. Was that in Iron Man 2, where they say, we're not going to bring you in, we're going to make you a consultant?
Oh.
You know, I don't think that they did that all the way in the Avengers.
Maybe it was the first one, because that's when they were sort of asking for him to become an agent, and he's like, no, I'm not going to sell you my tech. He was way more involved with them in the second movie, right?
In the second one, yeah, he's much more involved with them in the second movie. But yeah, so
I imagine he must have been more of a consultant before then.
Yeah, so I guess so this would be the birth of his consultancy.
Right.
And it, of course, leads up to that end scene with General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in the bar with the mysterious consultant, who, of course, was Tony Stark, Iron Man, played magnificently by Robert Downey Jr. Which, and I'm going to be honest with you, I love the joke of the rich guy goes and he just buys the bar to avoid getting thrown out. Although I do wonder about the logistics of that, you know, like what does he just write the guy a check? And, you know, is the bar owner there at the time? I guess there's a lot of logistics that, you know, when Tony Stark buys a bar like that.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he was able to just purchase it outright must mean that the owner was on premises at the moment. He just got lucky enough to see the owner there. And then it's Tony Stark. His word is good for it. He just said, you know what? Whatever you ask for it, whatever it's worth, I'll give you 3 times as much. Just sit down, be quiet, and I get to do what I want. And because of the fact that he did go ahead and have it demolished, says to me that this was a place that Ross, frequently liked to have meetings. Maybe this was his favorite place. Maybe it had some sentimental value connected to his childhood or something, and that was worth destroying.
Doesn't that just make him seem like a jerk, though? I mean, it's like, no wonder they don't want this guy.
Yes, he is a jerk, though. But I guess this is before he was reformed, before he found his redemption and said, I want to become Iron Man. Right now, he's just a brat, right?
Yeah. At this point, he's already Iron Man, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, this is after Iron Man.
Well, maybe he has a personal vendetta against Ross, and maybe he has every right to. Ross has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So
yeah, I mean, clearly they have that negative feeling,
Yeah.
In fact,
sometimes you have to be a jerk, though. I mean, like, I don't know. There's no saying in the Bible saying, thou shalt not jerk.
Actually, there's several that say don't be a jerk. So, Bible, the Quran, it's all over the place. You're really not supposed to be a jerk in general. You're supposed to actually be like, a nice person, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And
hey, Thunderbolt Ross would probably do a whole lot unto me. You know what I'm saying?
I know that you just
following the letter of that law.
But it's how you want him to treat you, and that's how you treat him.
Hey, well, if you're gonna amend that, then sure,
Anyway, but yeah, no, that's the thing. Yeah, don't be a jerk is in the Bible. We will say that. That is, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Now, granted, there could also a lot of spots in the Bible where it tells you to actively be a jerk to people. So,
fair, yeah, right.
Obviously, a lot
that's
of
what I'm saying.
Sometimes,
you need to be a jerk. Sometimes people call for it. I mean, there is such a thing.
Yeah, and sometimes religious homes just out of it jerks in general. So,
I'm just saying, it brought me a measure of joy to know that probably he enjoyed that quite a bit, destroying his favorite little restaurant. So that brought me a bit of joy.
Fair enough. And we all do love the Schadenfreude. That is what that is, and we know that Ross is a guy. If anyone is deserving having bad things happen to him, it is arguably Ross, because we just know from the Incredible Hulk movie, he manipulates Blonsky into getting the serum, and all that, and the untested serum too. Because let's face it, this was serum. It's not like they had a breakthrough in the serum when they give it to Blonsky. They just took it off the shelf, and Ross just
was very eager to participate as well. He did not need it. I mean, I'm sure he understood that it was an untested formula, but his ego was too big to let that moment pass.
I understand that, but I also think that there's just sort of the informed consent that I don't think you could argue solid informed consent. I think that at the end of the Hulk, the leader gives, Stern gives Blonsky more informed consent than,
I felt like Blonsky was a soldier and understood his role as being expendable to the cause, right? So to that end, most things are fair game. Especially when you consider that, I could have superpowers. That's a chance. I mean, people as dedicated to the cause as him would easily take.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not arguing that. And I do think that, the very interesting thing about this specific one is this is taking place before Winter Soldier. Which means Sitwell, at this point in history, is very much seen as a trusted member of S.H.I.E.L.D. And also within this, you have this idea where he makes the point that the council, the International Council, on which we know Hydra had at least one seat. Because we saw that both, the first guy who wound up in Agents of Shield. I'm blanking on his name. Was it
Not
Powers
sure.
something? Anyway, later replaced by Robert Redford in the third one. Or no, was that Winter's? No, that was
Civil War.
Wait, where was
Civil War because
with Robert Redford?
Yeah, because he wanted the Sokovia Accords, right?
No. Robert Redford must have been. Robert Redford was Winter Soldier. That's right. Robert Redford was Winter Soldier because they were trying to launch Project Insight. That's right. I'm remembering now. I'm getting all my pieces in the row. And in Avengers, that seat was held by one of the Hydra guys who wound up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And at this point, we don't know if Sitwell has been turned to Hydra yet, or if he is part of Hydra. And actually, even though the Council is pushing for this, he's maybe also just agreeing with the idea that Blonsky is not a good fit for the Avengers. For whatever reason, because, it could also just be they did not want to have the Avengers be that powerful. Maybe other forces within Hydra, they want the Avengers, but they don't want the Avengers to be too powerful. I don't know. It's just interesting that he is going against what the Supreme Council is saying. Now, it's also possible that the Supreme Council, which has non-Hydra members, maybe the non-Hydra members pushed for the vote, and Hydra got outvoted. That said, well, if we have, a guy like Blonsky, who is a soldier, who is superpowered, if we can get him to be on our Avengers team, maybe that works for us, and then that becomes a threat to Hydra. There's a lot of ways you could sparse it to see exactly why it is he is participating with Coulson in this to try and stop the Abomination from going on to this Proto-Avengers team. Also, interestingly enough, in this is the fact that Sitwell, again, volunteers to be the patsy.
Right. It reminded me of the Major Domo in Book of Boba Fett. He's like, I'm very good at groveling. Please allow me to grovel for you. That's what my line are good at.
Yes. Well, and to be fair, that's a fair and useful skill, as we said in the Book of Boba Fett. That is a useful skill. He said, I'm a great patsy, which I think, and again, is the kind of thing that plays out nicely in later stories when we do have him.
Right.
As the Hydra, and also in his own way a patsy in that when he plays the patsy, who betrays Hydra and says this is what they're doing, this is what Hydra's building, basically gives Cap the whole story,
Yeah.
Which again is one of those weird things where it's like, man, maybe he's actually much deeper covered. That's the thing about Sitwell is maybe we're never supposed to know. Is he Hydra or is he deep level triple cross agent? Maybe he didn't get hit by that rider truck. Maybe he's still alive. Maybe he was the whole
He's
time.
A survivor, I guess.
I don't know, man. I would love to see them bring him back and just have one more twist and everything else that goes on
right.
With S.H.I.E.L.D. and all these guys. Yes. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting take. We also get in this the idea of, the next level. So I'm level 6. I know everything.
He's a level 7? Is that, come on. There's a level 12.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is it keeps on going up, and I get the feeling that there's always these, every time it's like, well, I'm level 7, I'm level 8, and,
Yeah, it's just like they just keep raising the cap. Every time somebody new enters, okay, we need another measure. Okay, so Fury gets moved up to level 77 now. Every time a new person enters, he's level 78.
Yes, well, I mean, it's interesting, but I like that gag because they do that gag again in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When I'm blanking on everyone's name now. When the Hydra Mole, in spoilers, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., first introduces himself, and he does the whole. Because I think that was he's level 7, and then Coulson steps out of the shadows and says, "Welcome to level 8." You know, and I think later on when we get to the Avengers, we see that Cap is like level 9, and Natasha's level 10. So there's always more levels, as we say. Yeah, and that is
we
really
got more of the conversation between Stark and Ross to actually get a sense of how that conversation went, you know? I guess they only had 3 minutes. What are they going to give you? But that would have been the most interesting conversation to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, you know, and we get a lot of what we got at the end of the Incredible Hulk too. You know, we get the reference to how Tony Stark always has such nice suits, which is, you know, a nice little joke. Because of course he has the iron suits and then he has his Armani suits, you know. But you know, beyond that, I think it's nice the way that they play out, and you do get that antagonism, and you also get the interesting idea of that this is an older rivalry, especially centering around the idea that, you know, the bioweapon, the bioenhancement division is separate from the hardware division, and that Tony Stark is pushing hardware as a method of how you improve our military situation. And, you know, and for whatever reason, maybe arguably because, you know, if you have super soldiers, they're harder to fall into the enemy's hands and be used against you. Although, then again, I guess there's a secondary argument that it's also somewhat easier to get used against you too. You know, although I guess maybe this goes into what we were saying about if Tony Stark is, or not Tony Stark, if Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is actually Betsy Ross's niece, or Betsy Ross's nephew, and actually grew up around Jeff Mace, the Patriot. Maybe he's got this idea in his head, like, no, man, I knew Captain America, you know, or I knew a Captain America, and, you know, those are the guys that we need. We need those guys, those super soldiers, and those are the people that actually they're loyal, and they move our situation forward. So that's an argument to be made, you know.
You can see it.
Yeah, it's interesting how it can play out. Because I do like the idea that Thaddeus Ross isn't a bad guy, but that he is doing what he feels he needs to do.
Right. I feel like he might not have started out as a bad guy, but that's the danger of concessions, right? You make 1, 2, 3 before you know it. You're not the person you started out with. And now you have this weird ideal that you're willing to do anything for. And now, slowly but surely, you're becoming one of the bad guys.
Well, yeah, but I guess you could say the same thing about Tony Stark in that, you know? I mean...
Well, I mean, and that's the thing that he's very, very aware of and very afraid of. And that's why he wanted to sign the Accords. So he wouldn't have to walk that line.
Yeah. But I guess from my perspective, I kind of feel like Ross always thinks he's on the side of the Angels, even when it goes wrong. Right.
But what I'm saying is, just pointing out that that's horribly misguided, and his inability to see it makes him even more dangerous and evil.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think that's the. Well, it's like they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about tonight's episode?
No, I wish we had more. That's my only thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's like, I do wish we had more. You know, we had a lot with the Peggy Carter one, you know, and again, these were shorts. These were not meant to fill up the whole theater, but it was...
It did a good job of building up the mythos of the relationship between Stark and the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, it does. And again, I think what it really gives us, and I think what all the shorts give us, is they give us a larger context for the MCU that they're building. and who's on whose side, and what's everyone's end goal and end plan in this, and what are we building towards? And I do enjoy that. I think that's a good advantage that we get from these stories.
I wonder how much of these are just elaborated takes on cutting room floor material.
Well, probably, I can see. Well, it's funny. I think that these scenes kind of seem very much like this one. Like I said, I mean, the Peggy Carter one was definitely a proof of concept, which I think they proved their concept that this is what you would do in a Peggy Carter TV series. This one, I kind of feel it is probably more a writer's room bit than anything that was ever in any script,
I feel like item 47 definitely could have been part of some show.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel, and I'm not sure of the timing on it, but I do think that might have been sort of the proof of concept for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It feels like they were supposed to be Fritz and what's her name, right?
Yeah, Fitz and Simmons, kind of
Fitz and Simmons, right?
Simmons, yeah,
right. They were like metaphors for that kind of character.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that when we get to that episode. Because we got two more to do. That'll be our next two. We'll do Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Thor's Hammer, which is the one that really launched the entire idea of the Marvel shorts. And I think, like everything with Phil Coulson, got to be much bigger of a monster than Marvel intended it to be. Where it's like, oh man, this is too popular. How are we going to keep on, giving people these things, And then
more Coulson.
Everyone wanted more Coulson. And then item 47. In the meantime, Mozz, if people would like to reach out to us and talk to us about the shorts, about anything in the interconnected MCU, about the upcoming Moon Knight series, which we will also be reviewing here, they can write to us at CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. That's CapesandLunatics, all one word, at gmail.com. That's all spelled out. There's no ampersands in there. You can also talk to us if writing is hard. If you don't like to write, if you just want to talk. And for some people, they may not be able to write, but they can talk. They can call us on the Teleo phone, at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Call that number. Leave us a message. We will play you on the air if you give us permission. And if you just want to give us a brilliant idea, but don't want your voice heard so that the CIA doesn't track you down, we understand that as well. But we can discuss your ideas and properly anonymize you if necessary. Likewise, I want everyone down there, go down into our show notes, go to Linktree, that's linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. Find all of our merch. If you want to give us money, we have high quality merch. This is an aluminum lined cup. It keeps your cold things cold for an insane period of time. I assume it will keep hot things hot too. I have not put a hot thing in it yet, but I can tell you the cold part works amazingly well. You can also get t-shirts and things like that in a plethora of sizes. You can also link to you can also find all of our shows on the Capes and Lunatics networks there, including Super Connectivity, Capes and Lunatics, We Are the Night, was it We Are the Night is the Moon Knight podcast? Maybe that's the Batman podcast. I don't know. We've got a lot of podcasts. And of course, you can always subscribe to our Patreon there for as low as $1 a month, free video at exclusive video content at $5 a month. That means topless movie reviews. That means helping us out with our worst superhero movies of all time brackets, and many other adventurous things. That's at Linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. And after they do all that, Mozz, if they want to reach out to you and talk to you about what they saw or heard or felt, how can they reach you?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor at gmail.com, or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way that our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog at gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Mozz. All right, you lily-livered land lovers. You've sailed with me in the Mozz across the Sargassus that is the internet to find the hottest streaming content. And now we come ashore and leave you to your good graces and hope that you'll come aboard again next week as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arr.